to use a whole bay leaf too. Just one. That's actually really strong. Let me grab my bay leaf. Forgot all about it. It's somewhere here. Here we go. So, bay leaf. Most of these are in little pieces, but that's okay. This will actually go a long way. It's much stronger than you think it is. It smells good. And I put that right in there too. And maybe if you want peppercorns, you can throw those in there too. And I put my little lid thing on, but you would just basically make a little bag with a cheesecloth and tie it around the top. Or you can forget all of that altogether, chop up all of your seasonings and herbs, and just throw it right in. We're just gonna throw it right in. Yep. But just a reminder, if you do that, make sure that you don't end up eating the bay leaf. Pull the bay leaf out before you go and serve the soup. So next, I'm going to actually take out my leftover chicken from the roasted chicken and vegetables from the last episode we had. So we normally only eat like half the chicken, and just save it for this recipe. For the very next day, I normally do. So I still have a little bit of twine there. I'm gonna take that off. Now, a good way to cut open the chicken. So there's a bone right in between the breasts of the chicken. So what I'm going to do is cut right next to it. So let me hold up the chicken. So you see, this is where the bone is right here. It's called the keel bone. And what I'm going to do is cut right along the side of it. So. And you'll be able to feel where it is too, as you start cutting. I'm going to cut right down in there until you start feeling you've gotten some of the ribs. You'll feel it once you get cutting into it. And then I'm fairly down in there. Then what I'm going to do is cut in between the breast and the leg and just kind of pop that thigh right open. Just dislocate the hip, you know. You can actually just rip it right off too. This chicken needs a new hip. All right. And then I actually cut right at the base of the breast and where the wing is. And I cut into it until you get stopped. And then I continue to go in on the breast, and I kind of swoop down out. It can be a little tricky. Or you can just cut away at it. Go messy. Just be careful. And it separates. So that's great. Just gonna put that to the side. Cut that up after, and I'm going to finish ripping some of the bones off. So when I took that hip off, what I did was I basically dislocated the joint, and what I did was I saw some meat here on the back. This is like the chicken tenderloin. It's called an oyster. This is the most tender piece of the chicken. You don't want to forget that. It's so good. There's two of them, so I'm going to try and pop this guy out too. Awesome. And then what I'm going to do is just take the wing and pop that right off. There we go. Now sometimes you get a little bit of a tendon here in between the joint. Just give it a nice little cut. It'll separate. There you go. All right. Just look at some other things. This chicken's having a hard day. All right. Get this other wing. So I am separating all of this meat and everything, but we are still going to use all these bones. There we go. So, there we go. I'm going to take my breast back out and just give it a nice slice. where most of the flavor and everything is, but there's going to be plenty of fat in this. Just from the chicken itself. It's healthy to take the skin off. Plus, it is actually also a texture thing when you're eating the soup and everything, and then you get a whole skin. It's kind of weird. So that's why I take it off. I'm just gonna cut these into cubes. Cut them lengthwise, little pieces. Just so you have little bite-sized pieces in your chicken soup. Sometimes if you have leftover vegetables from your roast, you can even use that too to put right in your soup. It's got plenty of flavor. I'm taking these onions right out too. Not onions, lemons. Lemons that I stuffed on the inside of it. I do have a few seeds. Ooh. Definitely make sure that there's no seeds from the leftover lemon. You don't want that in your soup, that's not appetizing. All right, so I'm actually gonna cut off some more of the skin and just get rid of that. I'm actually not cutting it, I'm ripping it off, to be honest. Okay, so now that is all ready. Side, and then I'm going to wash my hands, clean up, and show you our next step. Okay, so now we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty, now that everything is chopped up and ready to go. So first off, I'm going to turn my heat on to a medium. And I'm gonna wait until this is nice and warm. So now that I'm feeling a bit of heat from the pot, at the bottom of the pot, I'm going to take just a little bit of olive oil. Maybe 2 tablespoons, because this is going to sit a while. This is going to be what we call sweating instead of sauteing vegetables. So the difference between sauteing and sweating. Sauteing involves a low amount of fat but a high heat. Now sweating is vegetables with a bit more fat at a lower setting, a lower heat setting. So that way it's going to sit there for a long time and just caramelize, I guess you could say. So, get a nice sizzle. That means you're nice and hot. Now, take my handy dandy spoon, give it a nice stir. So sweating does take a little while, but that is going to make the base of our soup. That's where a lot of the flavor is going to be coming from. So now everything is nice and sweated. That's what I call it. So the onions are a translucent color, which means they're slightly see-through. They're a lot softer. The carrots are a bit softer, as well as the celery. Now I waited to add the leeks. I actually put them to the side, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But first off, what I'm going to do is take my barley. Now I chose barley instead of wild rice or quinoa and red rice. And basically I chose the barley because it has a lot more fiber in it. Now fiber is really great for digestion, and it's actually very beneficial for those who have diabetes. So what I'm going to do, before this, I actually took the barley and I rinsed it in a small colander. I rinsed it until it ran clear, because they have a lot of starch in here, and it's good to rinse it before you do this, especially with a soup. So I'm going to add some of my barley and let it kind of toast. Right. Just a bit. Give it a nice stir. Very nice. Now, if you chopped up all of your seasonings and everything, instead of putting it in a little container like I did, or a cheesecloth, if you chopped up all of your seasonings, you would put that in right now. Get the seasonings nice and aromatic. So, give it a nice stir. Let it toast a little bit. Trust me, it's much more flavorful when you do it this way. Excellent. Then what I'm going to do is add this guy. Add, I'm going to pull these guys, put them aside for a second. Add my chicken. Get nice and dirty. Go. I put everything in, even the bones. It's really good to put the bones in there because we want the bones while it's simmering. We want the bones, the marrow of the bones, to give a bunch of that flavor. And it's got all sorts of nutrients in the bone. There's so much nutrients in the bones that we don't typically use. So this is a great way to get those nutrients. Is with the soup. Now I am going to add a little bit of that lemon, that leftover lemon. There we go. Now I'm going to toss her. Now I'm going to add the leeks. I'm going to add the leeks now because I was talking about that albumin, that protein that's found in these leeks. It's also found in eggs. But this albumin protein in the leeks will help make for a clear stock. So, I'm going to do that. Now I'm adding them just before I put the cold water in. The trick to getting all of that albumin out is by bringing it from cold water and then heating it up. Something about going from cold and then heating it up, it helps excrete or push out all of that albumin that's stuck in the leeks. So we want that. So I typically don't go by a certain measurement of water. I just keep adding water until everything is covered, just above where this chicken bone is. Awesome. Nice little stir. I've got my seasoning guy in there. If you did the sachet, the cheesecloth, you could always take it and put it off to the side. Make sure it doesn't open up if you don't want it to. Great. Now we're going to turn up the heat and try to bring it to a boil. So I'm going to cover this so we can come to a boil a little quicker. Okay, so our soup has been boiling for quite a while now. So we're going to check and see how the barley is. So what I'm going to do is take out a nice spoonful, put some in my bowl, and I'm going to actually try some of the barley and see if it's soft enough. If it's soft enough, it's good. So just be careful when you're eating this soup. Make sure that you keep an eye out for all those bones, because that can be dangerous if you bite down on any of those bones. You can, if you want, remove all these bones before serving everything. Do whatever you want to do. But this is a great recipe. It's very sustainable, meaning you can use all these all this chicken and vegetables and make multiple meals out of it for your whole family. So it lasts a long time. So thank you for watching our episode of the Nutrition Club, and make sure to subscribe, and if you want our recipe, just comment below and we'll try to send it to you. Thank you.